Tortola. Yeah, it sure is.
Oh my goodness, that's going to sit there forever whilst the 3/2s chip away at the Ziliaxes, right? Well, forever being like 2 turns, but that's a long time in politics.
I think this is actually kind of maybe a bit of a low roll. The Marithra is probably the best of the bunch. Summons a lot of big minions, particularly. Party Planner Vona not active. Shao-Ti would have to swing the weapon into 2 different things that deal at least 4 damage each to be able to activate the Vona. And yeah, the Aceras don't really do anything. The Hagatha doesn't do anything. The Nabundo, there's no spells remaining. So, you know, a couple of decent hits and then quite a few bad ones, to be honest.
Wait, we've got Marithra with the Tortola, right? Resurrect all different friendly minions that cost 8 or more. So the Tortola has got to be killed twice.
Yes, I'm not sure how many. Yeah, cost 8 or more. There haven't been a ton of those. So Marithra will resurrect.
Oh!
Great Draco Rex will resurrect Ziliax.
That's decent. That's really good. Ziliax and it'll only be the one Ziliax, but even so, Ziliax, Tortola, and shit again. Ah, come back! Stop it! Ziliax, Tortola, and Draco Rex seem like really good things to get, but on the other side, there's so much damage coming in. I'm excited, Adel.
All the quest rewards are 5, so they won't come back. Trying to see if there's anything else. Yeah, unless he plays the Gigantified of this mech. I don't remember the name of the card. Let's see.
How much is coming in?
Replicator-inator, right? That would be another thing that could get resurrected.
This is so close now to lethal.
Probably has to be Marithra right now.
Yeah. And that might not be enough. I can't maths it quick enough. But
Now, Replicator-inator is play, not summon, so not able to get an extra Tortola that way, but... oh, the Ceaseless. Yeah.
Filfield's reaction is like, oh, I've got to keep playing this game.
Yeah, I mean, the
This
Draco Rex
silly
is
game.
quite significant, right? Alongside that Ziliax, you can rush Draco into one of the 6 ones, clear away most of this. Ziliax cleans up the large Ziliax. You've got the 8 damage Rag Shot.
And this 130 is a lot harder to kill than the last one because the Ziliaxes are starting to run out on the other side of the board.
Yeah, and you can only play 1 a turn normally if you're Filfil. And that means that Draco Rex probably going to stick around unless Filfil wants to take a gamble on shuffling it into the deck. You know, then it is sort of trapped amidst a whole bunch of raptors.
It's so silly! And it's such an important moment! I'm getting all shouty, it's ridiculous, I can't stop. Okay.
And yeah, meanwhile, Filfil continuing to take fatigue.
Yeah, and he's going to start taking some 8s to face soon as well. Like, Shouty's board can deal with at least 1 wave of Ziliaxes. They're going to have to go into 130 and lose their Divine Shields. The minions will trade back into them. They're going to be gone. And Filfil's going to be down to what he can pick up from his hero power. 1 massive Drake or 2 that came from the Isira. And Shouty, okay, the cards he has left in his hand are not very functional, but they have numbers in the corners. There's a 7/7, yeah, there's a 6/4. They do something. They can fight. He may just pull this one out. The Ziliax is going to gain him some more health unless he gets shot.
Oh. Yeah, shuffles the 8/8. I think just because, you know, if it's redrawn, it's sort of an expensive do-nothing card, but it removes some power from the board. Meanwhile, though, Draco Rex is going to be able to push quite a lot of damage.
there's quite a lot of, like, it's not there, I've already checked, but there's quite a lot of face damage. Xiaoti isn't that far from just winning the game in one push now.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's worth noting, I was like, oh, this isn't that great on average. One good hit, right? And when you get
Yes.
a handful of legendaries, sometimes can just crack things wide open. And the fact that Marithra could resurrect Great Draco Rex, I think just completely blindsided Philfiel.
Yeah. Shouty now as well, having to decide whether he wants to press the Sulfuros
We
button
are
now. I
here.
think I would,
System.
because
Yeah.
killing the 14-7, protect my 10-10 seems good. It misses, sure, now you can just get rid of it anyway. And load up with some more stuff. You've got 21 available mana this turn. So these legendaries, again, they are not very good. They don't do anything, the ones that are remaining, in terms of affecting the game with their text. But they still have chunky numbers, and there's only 2 Ziliaxes looking a bit woeful on the other side. He may have got out the other side of this. He may be going to the World Finals. He's happy taking 14. That's a sign, I think, of how he's feeling about it.
Well, it's necessary to activate this party planner Vona, who you have to have
course.
taken 8 damage on your turns to be able to summon that 8/8. Death Rattle on that 8/8 is that it puts a Death Rattle on a minion in your hand of, you know, summon the Ouroboros again. And now Philfiel suddenly under pressure in a way I think he never expected to have to feel, with a handful of Ziliax. And
Yeah, these Ziliax now
I don't see a way out of
are...
this.
I don't think he can. I think Shouty, we were saying if he gets through the Ziliaxes, which seems incredibly unlikely, might get there. That was several Ziliaxes ago. There's still another one left. There's also a Gnome Muncher, which might just be a bit trappy towards the end if he's not careful on the other side, but the end is nigh. These Ziliaxes are defensive Ziliaxes now. They're not pushing anything. The fatigue's ticking up. The Sulfuros is ticking up. It's not ticking up, but it's becoming more and more effective as the board gets smaller and smaller. And this could just be lethal. Not quite. Pushes 14. If the Sulfuros hits one, you do a double trade. Plus the fatigue. You want to be careful here.
Yeah, nothing really
might
to
be-
search for in the deck. It's Raptors all the way down. So just gonna go ahead and Hero Power to start. Removes one of the life steals.
I think Philfiel is going to have to play his own Kobold, even though his hand is good. Like, it's a nice set of cards in his hand. I think his out is to get ridiculously lucky.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Again, Hagatha doing nothing, but it has numbers on it.
It
They're
has
bigger
numbers on it.
than
It has
Raptor
the
numbers.
Ouroboros Death Rattle.
Okay, yeah. Keep me straight and on my toes on those ones, because I will have missed that. How many mana crystals does he have? It's all of them. And
Wondering
sets up lethal
what
on
I'm
board.
talking about. Party Planner Vona. Oh, sorry, not Ouroboros, just Ouroboros.
Sure. I will send in the message to not have you fired immediately.
Yep. All right, gonna add something to hand. Could do a Pterodax, but you're probably re-rolling it anyway. No, Philfiel's gonna fight to the last
Reroll,
here.
you've got to re-roll. This is futile if you don't re-roll. It looks nice and all that. It staves
Well-
off dying for another turn, but
I don't know. The last Ziliax, with that, clearing up the 6/4 and the 10/10, you know, you look to be in a much better spot. This is, you know, a pretty good minion in, you know, your 6/10. You've still got the foam render pushing amidst all this. So in some
sure.
respects, you can just, you know, keep trying to stave off the opponent, keep trying to not die, and then hope that you can set up some kind of lethal between foam render, the hero power, and probably not this gnome muncher, because there's always 3/2s to get
be
in the way.
fair, I hadn't factored in actually that 6/5s don't go badly into 4/12s.
It's true.
This might have gone the other way. May have called this too soon. It's been known before.
There is a Nithendra in Shao-Ti's hand, which is a taunt minion he's been holding on to.
Yep.
And Ouroboros, also a taunt minion.
Oh,
You're-
sorry.
Yeah, I
It's
kind of think now
nonsense.
might be the time to drop that Nithendra.
I think so too. Yeah, he's going to. Don't worry about the Beatles, just have it for one turn. One turn should be enough. Fatigue's up to 7.
Yeah, and if you don't clear the beetle, then he's gonna come back as a 1/1 taunt every single time.
Which will be so annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a full hand of silly
Travel
accents.
security might be able to
Down
do
to this.
something.
Yeah.
No Muncher, it's time to shine. Clear up that 1/1 beetle, and
Yep.
gain a little bit of life.
He's down to the last minions.
Gonna need a really good roll off this travel security.
There's a lot of them available. Don't ask me to name them, I just know I face it enough times to know there's a lot of them available. I'm too excited to name them right now. That's my excuse, I am sticking right to it. So, do you trade the 2/2 first and see where you're at, and then you worry about your Sulfuras play?
Yeah, I think so. Right, just throw the raptor in. Or, well, yeah, or one of the 4s. At this point, Shao-Ti is kind of on the control. I guess I suppose sort of has been a while, but that fatigue count for Philfield is so high that Shao-Ti can just try and hide behind taunts as long as possible.
That's what he needs to do, yeah? The fatigue is 8 next turn. Well, I mean, this is over now in the world where Phil doesn't roll absolute ridiculous off the horseman.
So there's Magtheridon would be... Oh, wait, no, we already saw the hit, right? Califero was the hit. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
got to be something new.
Which is possible, like, it looks like he's going to get to go face with the Foam Render one last time with the combination of Hero Power and Califero.
Oh, you know what?
Needs to be now.
Meadow Strider would have been a hit that Philfield could have gotten, right? Which is a taunt that shuffles into
Good luck,
your deck.
everyone!
Oh,
Stuffy with Rush!
it is
that do it?
Kobold time, I think. Well, let's see. 4 Rush.
It's not enough.
No, you're 1
5
off.
Rush.
Yeah, so this sets up a taunt, and then you turn the 1/1 into a random legendary and pray.
Yes, that's the ordering, yeah. But then your random legendary, you won't be able to play it unless it costs 5 or less.
Right.
So you've got to
so-
work
Yeah,
out
you
how,
just need 10
does that
mana.
ever work? You've got to work out if you just want to go for a 10 drop and hope for the best that way. It's a tough call.
Or maybe you say no legendaries, I just want 3 taunts.
Sure. I think that never gets there. Does it never get there? I don't know.
It's 5 face. Shao-Ti no longer has an armor hero power.
No, you gotta call bold, right?
I think the question is, I think Philfield's just taking too much fatigue, right? Because Shao-Ti can clear up all of these taunts potentially.
It's going to
And-
come down to Philfield's hero power, right? Next turn.
Well, you mean to Shao-Ti's?
No, I mean Philfield's, but it could be Shao-Ti's as well, yeah. I didn't mean Shao-Ti's, but that also is relevant.
So, I mean,
Because Philfield gets to get another random card to do 1 damage with if he gets a next turn.
Shao-Ti can definitely set a 50-50 up.
So
I
he
think,
sets the 50-50 up, and if he
I
misses,
think it
Philfield
just comes
has to
down to a
get damage.
50-50. Yeah, Shao-Ti's entire deck is Raptors and then 1 8/8 Replicator-inator.
Philfield will be short, right? He'll be 1 short, unless I'm missing something.
Why would he be 1 short?
He has 5 damage. Oh, it's 3 damage from hero power. Yeah, sure. I was thinking it was just raw card. I'm losing it in the pressure.
Yeah, so he's got 8, and the thing about Ouroboros is it puts the death rattle on, right? So Shao Ti isn't going to be able to kill off the raptor that has that Ouroboros death rattle. So yeah, Shao Ti takes 50-50, hits it, and Phil gave him the best out opportunity. It was the best he could do. I think it was correct, setting up maximum number of taunts rather than rolling on a legendary. And Shao Ti gonna eke his way into the final here. To be fair, he was up a game already, but really making him fight for it.
Shao Ti reaches the final, and I think the first thing I would do, actually the last thing I would do now before I leave the camera is say, yes, I would like my 10 minutes, please. It's absolutely insane game. Edelweiss, thanks for keeping me straight at the end there as well. Phil had a tremendous run in this tournament, all the way through the playoffs, all the way through the Masters Tour to get here. Fantastic work by him, picking up that top 4 finish. Shao Ti, again, still had the the warrior mirror if he loses that one. I'm not sure I could have coped. That was,
been here another hour.
So well played by both of them. Like, I feel like Phil had it set up to win. He ran into Tortilla to get it all back and do it again. And then he did find a way at the end there to take that, what must have been a 40-minute game, at least, down to a 50-50 shot. But it is going to be Shao Ti definition. I've just shouted for a minute. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Banter was talking about earlier how you need 3 things. You need to play well, you need to build a good lineup, and you need a little bit of luck. And sometimes it's that 50-50 that you're able to win that gets you over the finish line.
That was thrilling. The other semi-final, if you didn't see it, was also thrilling. And hopefully that is setting us up for a thrilling final. Obviously, Shao Ti is going to need a moment to get himself composed. That was an absolutely ridiculous Hearthstone game. But we're going to take a break while they get set up. I imagine will be about 10 minutes. And we will see you then for the final of the 2025 World Championships. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you soon.
Holy shit, Philippine Maximum in Guro is gone. Go to the bathroom. Room stream. Stream stuff. Keep it one chapter. Here it is. Perfect.
Welcome back. We are getting ready to get into the finals of the World Championship, and what a journey both of these players have just been on, with both semi-finals absolutely incredible, and I think most of us are still mentally and physically recovering from that last game. I'm Raven, and joining me for the finals is Banterface, and we are ready to take you through this one. Banter, I mean, we were all just talking, watching that last game anyway, but What did you make of it? What a crazy way to make it to the finals for Shouty.
Just pure chaos. I mean, I cannot even imagine being involved in a game like that. Like you said, we were watching it and we were freaking out. Like, just such a hard spot for every single turn. Like, the pressure for both players. Everybody's trying to calculate stuff. There's, obviously some random elements with the different minions from the Kobold. Just pure insanity, but an incredible game to watch.
Yeah, and I think both players played well throughout the whole series, of course, I think that one really just highlighted Shouty's ability to just make things work, right? Like you said, you cannot prepare for those kinds of games. That's not something that's going to come up in practice or anything with teammates or whatever. Like, that is something you have to just play by feel. And Shouty looked like, although there were some spicy moments, of course, looked like he was just in control for all of that. Just had the plan, worked with what he had, kept adapting to the scenario, and it paid off massively. And after multiple tries and multiple World Championship attempts, Shouty is going to be in the finals. But his opponent, Definition, has also had maybe a bit more time to recover, but also had quite the wild semi-finals versus Lovestorm as well. So both of these players must be maybe just praying for just a slightly more regular game or match of Hearthstone right now, because to do all that all over again in those kind of ways must be a little bit intimidating for these players in what's probably the most important match of their lives.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Shouty will definitely need a few minutes to calm down and relax after that one. He'll definitely be relieved, but then there's the realization, oh, I've got 5-10 minutes, jump right back into now the biggest game of my career again. So it's huge stakes. I cannot imagine how both of them are feeling. Definition, like you said, he had his own crazy game. The nice thing for him is maybe, at least from his decision-making point of view, a little less mentally taxing in terms of the, kind of game that he had to go through. For Shouty, he's just got to collect himself, calm down, and say, all right, I don't think it can get any crazier than that. So this one should be a piece of cake for him.
Yeah, and just talking about the lineups as well as the players, like we said, we're just making sure the players are all completely good to go before we begin. The big key difference here is the Psycho Rogue, is the Shaman in Shouty's lineup, right? Which is huge, and no DK, which is the big one here. So just looking at lineups and where we've ended up now in these finals, what do you make of them both? Is there any player you are leaning towards just purely from a lineup point of view?
It's very close from a lineup point of view. I hate to go back on what I've been talking about Shaman this whole time, but we do have new evidence, right? We have the stats from the tournament. Not sure exactly what the numbers look like now, but Shaman's been looking better than I thought. DK has struggled a little bit, so like you said, I think it's so close, but I might lean towards Shouty just a little bit.
And are we expecting any big surprises from the bans here, or are we just getting the usual suspects, because a lot of these lineups have been played across the across the past 3.5 days, I guess?
Yeah, I think they'll just be sticking to their own plans. There's some mind games with, maybe I can change up the ban based on what my opponent does, but they both got here for a reason. They're in the finals. I don't think this would be the time to get too experimental.
Yeah, for sure. It's probably it's one of those things where you could try something, but if it didn't work, you'd probably feel quite bad afterwards in such an important game. Just a reminder, if you have just joined us or joined us recently or any point in during that last game, which lasted, I think, upwards of an hour, this is going to be the final of the 2025 Hearthstone World Championship. These players have had different routes and different roads to get to this point, but either way, both players have worked extremely hard for a long time now to get there, and it's all coming down to this moment, which I can't wait to get going once these players are ready. But we can check them out here and see what's going to be going on with the bans when they are locked in. Let me just triple check if they are yet or not. It looks like we've got one ban locked in. We're just waiting on the other one just to confirm. Again, very important that the players are comfortable, good to go and ready. But what do you think is going through the minds of the players now right before this kind of match, in terms of, is it just trying to calm and stay focused? Is it, you know, the energy that's come with, because you know everything, there's arguably everything to gain and kind of everything to lose at the same time?
Yeah, I think everyone handles it differently. Some people might say, you know, well, like I've gotten this far, whatever happens, happens. Other people might be a bit more, you know, like I'm here, I have to win now. I think it definitely depends on the person, but like you said, the most important thing is just to calm down, focus up. Everything that happened for the past in this tournament, it's done now, regardless. Any mistakes they've made, any crazy games they've played, it all is irrelevant for the next, you know, 30 minutes, an hour, however long this game lasts. So just need to focus up.
Yeah, and based on the recent series, who knows how long it's going to go, right? We'll have to find out. It does look like Definition's ban was Warrior and Shouty's ban was Hunter. Looking at this, so we'll see if we'll just wait till it's confirmed visually for us, and once we start getting into the first cues and everything. But yeah, pretty reasonable bans, I would say. Nothing too crazy going out there, and it does look like the standard lineups ended up doing it right. Philfield got very close, right? The Warlock almost made it to the final. I still think fantastic performance from both players that had the Warlock, of course, getting into top 8 and then obviously the semis. But it looks like these are the sorts of decks that are going to get there, as we saw the most success from in these finals. But of course, it does come down to the players. And for you now, I've asked about lineups, I've asked about the decks, but when we look at the players from what you've seen over the course of these 4 days, who do you think has an edge, if any of them?
Yeah, so it's interesting because they've both had their good moments and their bad moments. I think that's pretty expected in a tournament like this. I would still have to lean towards Zhao Ti. He's a player that I've personally been a fan of for a long time. I really enjoy watching him play. So methodical, so careful with everything that he does. And I feel like every time I watch him, like, yeah, that play looks good. Sometimes I'll be casting his matches. I'll say, oh, like, this is what I would do. He'll make a different play, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably Zhao Ti's play. That just makes sense. So he's an incredible player. Definition, of course, in his own right, also a very good player. But I would give a small edge to Zhao Ti.
Yeah, with multiple super strong performances, and I do feel like Zhao Ti, at least in the last few years, has definitely been like, if you ask players that aren't from China, like the pro players in Europe and Americas, of course, say like, who's name some of the best players in the world, or name the best player in the world. Zhao Ti has come up when we've interviewed players. Zhao Ti's come up often, right? It's not like it's a one-off or anything like that. Zhao Ti has come up fairly often, and I think definitely holding the respect of players from across the world, never mind in China, of course, where I'm sure that's magnified tenfold to an extent. So yeah, I think I would probably join you in this, in that just looking at results, overall performance over the years, Zhao Ti is looking very good. But as we have seen in the past few days, anything can happen, right? Like we've seen the most extreme cases of having to just juggle these outcomes that you weren't expecting in any given matchups and making them work. We've also seen the other way, where players have just been blitzed 3-0, or just had those, a run of games where you feel like everything's against you, right? And it can snowball out of control. So we really have seen it all. So even though we feel the favorite is Zhao Ti, literally anything could happen in this series. These players, you don't get to this far, we don't even get to the World Championship without being an exceptional player, and you definitely don't get to the finals. It looks like we are getting closer though, as the players are getting ready, locked in with that first matchup. We've got the Warrior on the side of Definition, and then we've got the Rogue on the side of Zhao Ti. So again, both players will be looking to just get the work done, right? Get the early wins. Are there like key decks from either player's lineup? Like, what's the deck where they have to get over the line, do you feel, now that we've seen the results? Because now you're a Shaman fan, so that might not be the problem for Zhao Ti now.
I'm still gonna call it the problem for Zhao Ti. Okay. It keeps coming back to those other two decks, right? We always have this situation where, or at least pretty frequently, we've had Warrior, Hunter, and Rogue. And then generally, they kind of seem to get there, especially just the way that the bans work out. I always feel like they're in kind of a fine spot. And pretty often, I think we're even seeing it here, you kind of have to ban for your fourth deck a little bit. Definition has the DK as his force, Xiaoti's got Shaman, so I think that's why the bans differ. Happened in some previous sets as well with these exact lineups, where Zhao T kind of needs to protect his Shaman a little bit, give it an extra chance, because that matchup against Hunter is just not great. Meanwhile, Definition, probably also expecting a Hunter ban, he ends up just banning Warrior. DK, usually not great against Warrior. Of course, we saw an incredible match in the last game with that. Not often that it looks that close, though. Sometimes Warrior will kind of just do their thing, especially without the Steam Cleaner tech to help.
Yeah, and what do you think about that? Like, in the sort of use or not use, I guess, of tech cards in the decks that have been submitted over the weekend and have played, now that we can see that the majority of the matches, of course, have been played out. Because for Philfield, I feel like the Steam Cleaner and some of the other tech choices we've seen on stream multiple times in these matchups. Obviously, you've got to hit the good matchups, but what do you think of it now that we've seen the results?
Yeah, I think it's been a pretty reasonable choice, and we'll see if... I guess there's not really many tech cards in this matchup, but we're getting into it.
Yeah, here we go. Game number 1 of the finals of the Hearthstone World Championship. We've got Definition on the top on the Warrior, going up against Xiao T on that Rogue. And again, it's all just about these early starts. We can see Hostile Invader is an option for Definition, one of the better ways to fight back versus those early Rogue boards. But Xiao T, nothing looking too amazing in that opening hand.
Yeah, sometimes you might see prep kept, at least pretty often, but I think Zhao T's really looking for a 1-drop to push a lot of early chip damage against Warrior. Meanwhile, for Warrior, we won't see the quest kept. Hostile Invader, as you mentioned, much more important.
Okay, both players actually ending up post-mulligan with pretty decent hands, having the 1-drop into potentially Eat the Imp or even out Cultist Map as an option. Not bad at all for Xiao T, but Definition, having some armor gain, some card draw, and the Hostile Invader, that's kind of ticking the majority of the boxes for the Warrior, right?
It is, yeah. There's one box that's left unticked, which is New Heights, getting that extra ramp, allowing you to play Invader maybe without having a coin, getting to Dracorex and Ziliax as well. That is going to be what Definition really wants to see next turn. Zhao T, meanwhile, with, sometimes you might just eat the Imp on 2. I think in this case, he doesn't want to kill his minion off because he knows that this is a big part of the matchup, getting your minions to actually
for 20 minutes or
instead
something.
he finds a Wisp, he's able to eat that, but he keeps his 2-1 on board, which may very well push like 8 more damage this game.
Yeah, not looking too bad at all. Really nice. I don't want to say going all in, but just the early confident prep go. I can find something to do with this turn.
I'm still stuck in timings of...
That 2-1 is going to start chipping away at this armor gain from the shield block from Definition. Very quickly back over to Xiao T though.
Yep,
just,
and
Dubious just thrown out, right?
Yep, don't really need to save it for destroying a minion. It can be nice against Hostile Invader, but he's just looking for Tusk at this point, try to get a decent turn. And just to continue cycling his deck, he does pick up an O-Manager with an Incendious in hand, so that will definitely be key this game.
See Xiao T just very focused. Really planning out the turns, because again, this is one of those moments where you can just take a bit of time. These rogue turns, you do really want to have a bit of a roadmap to go down, right? And just sort of plan out how quickly you can cycle through the deck, what the setup looks like, as you mentioned with O-Manager. So Xiao T just taking his time, working out if he wants to do anything else this turn, but also what do the next few turns look like? Got to look at the hand size as well, not to get into any too much trouble, which shouldn't be too difficult with the Shadow Steps and Wisp in hand as well.
Yep, and he does have a Wisp in hand, which you could just play out, but that is also a draw off of Webweaver later on, because he's already played his first one, so he's going to hold on to it. And there is the top deck New Heights that every Warrior seems to have against you on ladder, and it turns out they have it in tournament too. That is the perfect draw for Definition.
Yeah, Definition either looked very happy or very sad about that, but I'm gonna assume that was very happy because it was the best draw I could possibly think of. So
I think it was. And speaking of best draws, not a bad one for Xiao T, picking up the Tusk to get that going. It might be a little bit late for an everything must go turn, unfortunately, because Warrior has access to Invader now.
Well, nothing happened.
So already a bit of a tough turn. I would probably lean towards a turn with the Tusk. See what he spends his remaining 2 mana on. He also can just spend the mana on the O Manager. Of course, he cannot play Incendius next turn, but could just get the mana spent. Does it?
I think
does
I
end
like
up
this
equipping.
overall, yeah.
Yep, I do
No
too.
rush, as you said. As long
Pardon me.
looking to play the O Manager next turn, no doubt. So you may as well just preload everything you can, right? And again, if the hostile invader comes down now, it's not like Shouty's gone super heavy on the board or anything. Like, yeah, these die, but who cares in the grand scheme of things? Hyper important at this point of the game. Still frustrating, but not the end of the world.
Yep, and I imagine Definition is now thinking about if he can just play out this invader. One dubious purchase is already gone, and that's kind of their best answer to it. The nice thing about playing it out is not only does it, destroy their current board, it also makes their future board really awkward to deal with. But he does end up just armoring up. He's going to skip the invader. Has the quest in hand, which he will hold on to, and he's able to go invader plus quest.
Okay. Straight into another new heights.
Oh, that's kind of annoying.
This
to
ramp's
get
gonna
that
start to
bit
really
quest
pay off
like
soon.
this.
It will, but he does need to find some top end for that ramp, like the Great Dracorex, like Ziliax. At the moment, he basically has Invader, not much else, right? That Ceaseless is a long way away from playable.
Meanwhile, Shouty did find an EMG. Does have Web Weaver now as well.
Yep. And picks
Because
up the
this,
second Shadow Step.
Go on.
No, it just picks up the second Shadow
Oh,
Step, so
it's
now
all
he
good.
is able to continue to cycle these asteroids while also getting the Everything Must Go Down. Probably hoping that he ends up hitting a particularly big minion with more than 4 HP here.
Yeah, because this Mauler lived, this stacks up to be a nice extra amount of damage, right? Not only being able to attack face, but also be a Shadow Step target, which saves the mana from using the other Mauler instead, if that was going to be one of the options Shouty was looking at. So here's the MG. Okay.
2 5 HP minions. I don't think he will be upset about that at all, and then is going to go ahead and Shadow Step that Mauler, just get it back in his hand for 0. Oh, he actually just replays it as well. Sure. Gets
Yeah,
extra
card
draw.
draw and more asteroids now, right? Just lock them in and get it done.
Yep.
Does still have access to that coin as well for the Incendius. So this is, for Shouty, lining up very nicely of just ticking all the boxes for, okay, asteroids in, big board forcing removal. Normally, if removal's done, then there's not much sort of overall warrior progression, right? They're not doing the annoying things like gaining tons of armor or messing with you too much. So this ask is now on Definition as to how he's going to choose to remove this. Does have the invader, but
Then
as you
you
said,
got Clark's
5
not playing
health
now.
is
It's
a
always
little
slow,
bit annoying.
taking damage for it.
It certainly is, and pretty interesting decision from Zhao Ti at the end of the turn that you could maybe argue about, where he ends up playing the Phoenix, which was free. The only potential punish for it is if Definition were to go Bob here, it would deny you being able to coin Incendius. So I would have probably just not played the Phoenix at this point, just to leave that board space open. Because if they clear the board, then the Phoenix isn't really doing anything anyway, right?
Right.
But certainly a decision point.
Yeah, with both Shadow Steps gone, it's not as if you could even say, oh, I'll draw into Shadow Step to play around that or anything, right? The Shadow Steps have been used. Shouty does get the information, though. It's going to be Bulwark and the Hostile Invader sort of clear.
Some early Bulwark.
He does get to hold on to a couple extra minions on the board, and these are just Bulwark food, right? You can just punch these into the Bulwark, start to chip through that. Very important to do so. I don't think he's going to be too bothered with the 3/5 on the board. His board is already essentially cleared, right? So seems like a very convenient turn to just coin Incendius, and
These rooms are so unlucky that we get to keep a board, their biggest
Would you
board.
not like the look of trade in, clear the board completely, and then coin Incendius, so it's sort of just sat on its own max health?
yeah, so you
Just
could.
coin double every turn
The issue
Phoenix.
with it is it's sort of just missing a lot
So
of
why would
damage
you do that?
because 4 Bulwark charges quite a few
His hand is bad against
and
Phoenixes though.
he has the Thalnos in hand as well. So He does want this invader off the board, but I think he would much rather do it while also getting rid of the bulwark charges. And he has a
We're gonna brawl this.
so it's not even
So we
that
take
easy
5
to get
damage.
to the Incendius.
Might be
Yeah,
the
that's true,
differentiating
that's And
damage.
low armor as well at the moment, right? So shield slam not really
Don't
on
play like
offer
it's gonna
outside of a
close.
croc as
The
well.
damage.
Yep. And he does indeed push a couple of the charges through that bulwark. Definition needs some help here from his deck. Picks up an all-you-can-eat, which of course that draws some pretty crucial cards like Dracorex or Ziliax. Sometimes.
Well, this brawl is going to be very interesting. It could go very right or it could go very wrong.
Yeah, he is looking at it, just kind of double checking, and
It's the only real choice
Really
he's
just
got,
want-
right?
yeah, it is. I mean, dream scenario, you win the brawl, but disaster scenario, he just wants to avoid the Incendius winning. And if
Ooh, the
he
win, okay.
wins the brawl, that is potentially a huge deal because that keeps his AoE on the board.
Yeah,
And
and he's
soaks
going to
up
soak
damage.
some of these asteroids, which isn't too
Absolutely, yeah.
shabby either. Yeah. Luckily for Shao Ti, to an extent at least, it wasn't one of those follow-up turns where you just go eruption, eruption, eruption off the top, right? And it's just like, oh, it's all gone now. So it does have a little bit of leeway here. But he does have that Thanos, does have the option of more Maulers as well.
Yep, now just needs to figure out the best way to sequence this turn. Has still got a lot of cards in deck to go through though. So taking a look at what Zhao Ti has left, he's got 5 eruptions, 4 asteroids, and then 4 real cards still in deck. But
That's
bronze
scenario is
also this
good
invader, so
with,
he just
I guess,
can't
his
get
hand.
the
We just
Thanos
know that.
down because it will immediately die. Very awkward for him now.
Is it? I was thinking, is there
You
ever
know,
a
if
world
you
where
can
this
play
gets
hard
staggered
next
down?
turn.
Is that just a? I'm pretty good at silly suggestions, Banter, just so you know.
No,
So,
it's not. It's
okay,
not silly
okay.
at all. I think you're actually forced
Yeah.
to. It doesn't really have another option because he doesn't want to draw the rest of his damage.
Exactly.
And suddenly, Zhao Ti's able to just play his Ziliax that is quite likely in hand.
Okay, if the Ziliax does come down now, some annoying minions to trade into, and they will lose their shields, which could be quite clutch for next turn for Shao Ti. Definition doesn't have to play the Ziliax right now, though. The board isn't super threatening. Could save it and try and go for a different route here.
Yeah, it is math time for Definition. He does need to calculate how much potential damage there is here because I'm sure he would prefer to hold on to the Ziliax.
Right.
If you play it, it's just going to die to eruptions. He might need more healing.
These guys are both unlikely
So
champions.
Zhao Ti has
Like,
5 eruptions, 4 asteroids, and the big concern is the Thalnos as well as the Mauler in hand. So I think Definition can't really afford a Ziliax here. Just going to clear the board with this instead. He also gets another invader down, which is a pretty big deal for the same reason it was before. You just can't play the Thalnos now.
Or maybe, depending on how many of these
Yep.
pop, he can.
That is good enough. And that dagger
Yep.
that you pointed out last turn is going to come in clutch here. He can just kill off this invader and then draw the rest of his deck with Thalnos. Just needs to do the math, make sure he can get every card from his deck, but I believe he just can.
Yep, just showing the remaining cards left. 3 eruptions, 4 asteroids, and of course there is a Mauler to add even more asteroids in here as well.
Yep, so
And access to a
Mauler,
little bit more card draw.
yeah, and it's actually just enough card draw. He goes Mauler, Thalnos, Dubious Purchase, and a Platosaur to guarantee that he draws every card in his deck, and it is just enough damage.
Wow. Just taking a quick drink break, as I believe, yeah, he's done the math, and it's looking pretty good so far.
Yep, there's always that kind of sad feeling as you see all the asteroids hit your face and you realize, yep, this one is
Wow.
over, but very clean from Zhao Ti.
Yeah, 100%. Some great decision making.
Wow,
early on in
holy
the game,
shit.
set him up for success. And also just the earlier shadow steps with the maulers,
Just
getting a little
lose
bit of
lots
damage
of the
through the
asteroids.
minions, getting that early
A
mauler
warrior.
in
After
then,
all
and
that.
you can see those extra asteroids that were shuffled in from the first mauler, helping clear some of those.
Yeah, honestly,
the
this is
hostile
perfect to
invader
do
off, for example.
between
So
the games.
really, really nice overall for Shao T. Very clean game, and Definition just couldn't quite get there, right? And the problem was with that Ziliax option, sure, you only heal 3, but would that have even been enough? If it's not enough, or if the game goes a bit longer, you've then wasted potential healing. So Definition was definitely put in some awkward situations, even though the hostile invaders were very, very good. But I just think Shao T just had good setups turn after turn.
Yep, absolutely. And I would say, especially on the last one, not much Definition could do at that point. The only thing he was really missing from his draw was all the armor, because that healing only goes so far. You go to 30 HP, and I mean, the way that Zhao T ended up drawing his deck, the sequence that he drew it in, was pretty fortunate for him, but he did set himself up well for it. Getting those 2 eruptions and, of course, the dagger that you pointed out on that last turn, super, super vital at that point to be able to clear off the invader. So yeah, very well played game.
Yeah, it is one of those things that to people who don't really play that rogue, or maybe don't run into it much on ladder, or maybe a lot of people just watch more Hearthstone than they play, it is a little bit surprising the first time you realize, or it clicks, how much extra damage Thalnos does and how vital it is, especially in certain matchups, that you can put Thalnos down and then start cycling, because that damage ticks up very, very quickly when you've got multiple waves of asteroids in, and then you've got the eruptions as well. It really does become really, really strong, and we only ever see Thalnos sort of thrown away when there's no other choice, right? When we've seen some games this weekend where it's like, I can only Thalnos on 2 or dagger, and it's like, okay, well, I'll need the card draw. But other than that, normally vital to try and keep hold of absolute max damage, especially, as you mentioned, when you're getting something like a warrior that can actually have more than starting health due to that armor. But it looks like we are ready to get into our game number 2. Zhao T going to be locking in the Shaman, the now confirmed best deck in the world by Banter, as he's changed his opinion, going up against Definition on this rogue.
Yep, and this definitely a much quicker matchup rather than the warrior. I mean, every matchup with rogue can be quicker, but in general, you want to get on board. You're not going to be as worried about like that Thalnos damage. Rather, you just need to make sure you're not exploding early on. So getting some of the minions on board, like the Space Rock, has a Tusk in hand as well to help deal with maybe some 3/3s in the future.
Yeah, open hand for Zhao T, not so bad. Does have the growth in available, and even though there's nothing mind-blowing yet, bird watching is a very good card at solving that problem, right? So bird watching turn 2 into either 3-4 drop, depending on what's on offer, could be quite strong indeed. Definition though does have some options as well. It's going to go for the Mauler early on. Not going to bother with the Crystal Tusk.
Yep, hand is a little bit empty, I would say, at the moment to play the Tusk this turn. Hard to get a turn off where you draw enough cards, so instead he's just going to get the tempo on board. And those minions, not really what Zhao T was looking for, especially with this hand in this matchup. I would say highest priority probably would have been Bellhop, would be the best minion to hit. These probably don't even crack the top 4. Not ideal at all.
Yeah, like even initially, like Bellhop, Hagatha, of course, just anything immediately playable, right, is all you really want. These, whilst powerful cards, not quite ready early enough when you look at the rest of the hand. So a little bit rough here for Shao T.
Yep, but as you said, they are powerful, and I definitely like this pick the most. His next turn is looking weak, but right after that, he's got a Muradin that is buff, so it'll go up to 8 attack. 8 attack Wind Fury minion, maybe has a few extra minions on board if he's forced to Hero Power and Totem. Really, he's just going to be probably in a spot where he's forced to play it and just
dagger down.
Purchase.
Yeah, and you can very quickly see Shao T's mindset here. Could have traded into the Mauler. Mauler's one of the stronger cards in the Rogue, of course, for getting those asteroids, but nope, damage to face. This is how this matchup's going to go. This isn't Warrior. Rogue isn't really likely to heal much, so just get him killed. Turbulus, a very good pickup to fill out this kind of bad turn from Shao T. Not bad at all.
Yeah, not too bad, but I will worry that Definition, especially having picked up an ETM, has so much card draw this turn. Already 6 draws between the natural draw plus the ETM. Already with the Shadow Step now, if he picks up an Everything Must Go in his next 4 draws, it would be playable.
Yeah, it has map as well now.
Would we should stop Platosaur in this matchup?
Yeah, we
Save
might
the
see
Shadow
him
Step.
not play the map and forgo it for the... Oh, well, now there's a second map as well. Has to decide between that and the ETM at this point. Prep. Something he would be searching for from his deck right now.
Yeah, why not draw prep and then play them all? How about that? That could be pretty useful.
That sounds perfect. It looks like he is going to start with E. Really hoping that he picks up, I mean, at the very least, and Everything Must Go, if not a prep. Does not hit, though.
And now, is the High King going to come out to play?
Yeah, it's one of those scary spots where it's by far the best play you have on the surface. The scary part is if it gets Dubious Purchase, suddenly you're in a pretty tough spot, but it is by far the most pressure. I think Zhao Ti knows that he needs to get aggressive and does that. He also is able to kill off the Platosaur, so Definition loses a card.
Yeah, it's that weird one, isn't
Yeah,
it?
don't
with
put the Phoenix.
Rodan, where the card's fantastic, but when you play it on 5, if it can be dealt with, you realize then you have, if you want the weapon like quickly, you're then spending your whole next turn just equipping a weapon. And with the pace of a lot of the matchups in the game right now, that feels quite slow sometimes. It's not really what you would need to do.
Yep. And Definition, I believe, should have a 2-mana Dubious Purchase, right? He's got both of those Space Rock Collector discounts already banked, so he's going to be searching for that from the map.
Okay.
I must make a phone call
Yeah,
and
let's
send
try
a
to help
text.
out with a few little things.
There's
Oh,
the
there it
Dubious.
Very clean from Definition here. Good setup. Already slicing through the deck very quickly, as we're used to in seeing Rogue. And now Shao Ti is going to be a little bit slower again. It does have Frosty Decor, but that pass does not feel great in this situation with Definition so deep in the deck, so many tools in hand, and potentially ready to go off a little bit. There has not been a no manager though, so Shao Ti knows he's at least relatively safe from an earlier Incendius.
Yep, Definition just choosing to float the 1 doesn't see the value of playing the Platosaur here. Could have gotten a couple extra minions on board, but doesn't necessarily help out a ton, and he does have access to 2 Web Weavers for a potential pop-off turn. And I think Shao Ti's going to be looking to get aggressive at this point, right? He's got fouls in hand, he's got his weapon, just needs to figure out the best way to apply the pressure. So I think on the surface, Frosty, pretty solid turn. He could deviate and go for Bumbling Bellhop plus Pop-Up Book, though, if he wants to try and make a stickier board against Asteroids, and he will do that. Actually, they're 4/4s as well. They're both from Turbulus, so I think you would always prefer to do this.
Yeah, just more stuff, and it's the Asteroid tech, but also if they do stick a little bit, you know, maybe that's going to pull out some level of removal or trades you don't want. And if they're kind of ignored or survive the Asteroids, there is the Wish available for some extra damage. A little bit awkward that everything's a turn too slow to an extent, but still, not too bad here for Shao Ti. But here's the turn Definition's been waiting for, right? Like the first turn he can really get going.
Yeah, this is the crucial turn, and Zhao Ti, I'm sure very well aware that he has Hammer into fouls available. So what Zhao Ti is hoping for is that there's no taunts, that some minion is able to stick because he needs a little extra damage to connect. But as Definition draws more, it's getting a little scary. He might not be able to stick anything.
Yeah, Dubious already getting rid of one of the 4/4s.
Yeah, the Asteroid did go face, meaning that there is potential that a minion will just stick, right? There is still the Everything Must Go. Definition going to kill off his own minion to make space for a 4-drop, try to hit a rush or a taunt. He doesn't hit one though. So So now Zhao T has to ask himself, how do I win from here? The first thing that comes to mind for me is just let weapon all face, because you put them down to 17, push 6 with the weapon, put them to 11. Suddenly you have a 2-turn setup. All you have to do is not die.
Yeah, the goal of most people most of the time, but we'll see if Xiao Ti can pull it off. It's difficult though, because basically both players have more or less done what they wanted to do, right? Pushing damage, weapons, as you said, that there is just a lethal setup we can see for Xiao Ti, but Definition just cut all the way through the deck down to 2 cards, which just an Eat the Imp and the other Everything Must Go. So really not much left, so Definition can do whatever. The benefit, I guess, for Xiao Ti is that there wasn't that fast Incendious, which means if there's an Incendious, well, there can't be an Incendious pass if the weapon's the route he goes for, right?
Yep, and now the problem, like, I think that this looks like the winning play. Unfortunately, I believe that Definition will just kill through this because he has Mauler Shadow Step in hand, Thalnos in hand as well. He can make trades to allow for, I mean, he only needs 2 board space anyway, but yeah, he can just double trade and it's just lethal.
Yeah, there's just a lot of damage on board. That's the problem. Xiao Ti doing his best to set up, but with all these minions sticking in the 4/4s, yes, they weren't taunts or they weren't any sort of shenanigan style minions. They're still 4 damage, right? And they're Shaman again, not got tons of health available.
Yep, and I think it's probably good to know that I think a lot of people would look at this turn and they say, oh, well, why didn't he play the Frosty Decor? It would have kept him alive, but the problem that you then have is you have no way to win the game. You play the Frosty, Definition just trades off the 2/4s, and he'll play Incendious, and suddenly you're in the exact same position. So definitely think it makes sense to make the play Zhao Ti made. I'm probably hoping that there was a bottom 1 Mauler maybe at that point, but overall just a tough spot for him to be in.
Yeah, it's the problem, right? So if Xiao Ti did the Decor or whatever earlier, then great, he's got some armor, but then Definition can just play Incendious, right? Because he's not dead. So then it just kicks the problem down the road to a certain extent, right? So yeah, Xiao Ti's setup as well is good, but this is going to be more than enough damage required from Definition. Evening the series up 1-1 now. Both players doing pretty well so far with those Rogue matchups. Rogue just ticking the boxes nice and early, getting them out of the way. And I do feel like maybe this is a bit of an assumption, but I feel like this Rogue deck is one of the most played decks among the pros because it has the mix of it's a good deck for a start, but also it's very rewarding for good play, right? Once you lock in with the combos, lock in with the decision making, it seems very rewarding if you can handle it well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those decks where you can kind of squeeze out that extra percent. Sometimes that's just due to a little bit of easy math that maybe somebody on ladder normally wouldn't bother with. They'll say, whatever, like I'll just, yeah, exactly. I'll just play my cards. That's me too sometimes, you know. It's easy to get lazy, but in a spot like this, in these big tournaments, of course, everybody is carefully tracking, you know, what they have left, what their opponent has left. So you can definitely get that extra, you know, couple percentage points for top players with this deck. And I think that's why we're seeing it do pretty well.
Yeah, and it looks like Definition just going to have the Warrior and Death Knight to go up against the Hunter and Shaman. So we've found ourselves in what feels like a bit of a unique situation where the last 4 classes are actually all different now between the 2 players. Yep. So we are going to see who's just going to get at the better end of the stick. Xiao Ti, we're going to game number 3, is going to be on that Shaman once again, and Definition going to be on the Warrior. So both players now queuing the deck they've lost with so far in this series. So one of them is going to be a little bit happier than the other soon.
Yep, absolutely. And this is a matchup we have seen a few times. I think we talked about it earlier in the cast. It's one of those where, like, you got to get off to a good start. Both decks have the potential to play a really long game, but overall, I think Shaman would definitely prefer to be ending it early, right? Those early 5/5s. And because of that, this hand for Xiao Ti, the only card he might consider, which he actually does keep, is the Shutter Block. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm very much a full mull for the aggro stuff and go, But Shudder Block is definitely one of the cards that can really rip open a game, right? Because it allows you, I'll say it allows you to cheat, you know what I mean. It allows you to do some very, very powerful effects. And I'm guessing the idea here as well is if you're going to do the rest of the mulligan, you're maybe not expecting the perfect start because it just feels a little bit unlikely. So then Shouty is just going to be building up for that sort of more mid to late game push. Because that's still fast enough to beat like the Warriors end game of the quest, right? You're still doing Shudderwock things faster than they're doing their end game.
It can be. I would say it depends a bit on what the Warrior's doing. And right now for Zhao-Ti, this is not the hand he would have been looking for.
No,
Sure,
it's
he kept
horrible.
the Shudder. It is, the rest of it is just not what he wants to see. There's no Hagatha, no location. We had a couple games like this previously that we saw in the tournament, and the Shaman had a really hard time recovering. One of the ways that you can recover, as you mentioned, is that Shudder kind of mid-game push. But if you're passing every turn until then, I'm not sure that'll be enough.
Yeah, you do slide further and further away, right? Because these are the turns where Shouty would want to be putting on pressure and chipping down health and or armor, right? Whereas this is just giving Definition time to pre-build up armor. And we saw even against in the Rogue matchup, we saw how close Shaman has to get sometimes, right? Like you really have to maximize damage. It feels a little bit face huntery to an extent, this Shaman deck. Yes, it can go late, which maybe wasn't the case for Hunter back in the day, but you do really want to maximize that early damage in this matchup. And yeah, you're right, this is not looking good. And let's see some, what do you think, Tempo Frogs coming out here for the big zero attack board builder? Probably not going to be the case.
I definitely think that Zhao-Ti will avoid the frogs. However, the Growfins do just spend the mana. But yeah, the frogs not looking good for Zhao-Ti. Of course, you do generally want to avoid going too wide on the board. I think he might pass up on a totem as well. He does indeed.
avoid going
He
too
didn't forget
wide
to
the
he
Moggers.
just decides that he doesn't want too many minions on board. Makes Definitions draw a little bit cheaper, so decides to hold off.
Yeah, and the lack of pressure now is really rough because it's just letting Definition do whatever he wants and getting zero punish for it, right? Like, drop the Elise, okay, cool, take 2 damage, can freely drop the location almost regardless of what the location ended up being, right? If that's what he wants, because again, it's unlikely there's going to be a huge push right now. Then you look at Bob, Marin, there's Bulwark and Brawl as defensive options, even Rat to an extent here. So this is a lot of freedom being offered to Definition right now, and Shouty is not going to like that one bit.
Absolutely, yeah, and we just took a look at the location. It's not the best location, maybe not ideal for Definition. Discover a spell Death Rattle, but like you said, when he's got zero pressure, any location will do. You can have Death Rattle spell damage. Hey, I'll just take a turn to play it, and he can start to accelerate the Death Rattle on it. And Warrior has some pretty good spells, right? You pick up a Brawl,
Ja, det gjorde någonting nu.
another Shield Slam, so many different removal options, and he will almost certainly just play that next turn, try to pick something up for the future.
Yeah, for a lot of the classes, once you start testing out Discover a spell, it costs less, you realize that classes have some really good spells in certain situations, right? And then you realize when they cost 4 less, a lot of spells are quite good, right? Like, believe it or not, spells get a lot better when they cost 4 less mana than they should. So yeah, definitely a lot of good options here. For Definition right now, though, maybe not the best, actually, after me talking up the Discover spell.
I think you jinxed it. Yeah, these are not the greatest options. Shadowflame Suffusion is a fine removal card. Sometimes you get a decent Dark Gift. He does end up going with that. I think the only other option he would really have considered was Champions of Azeroth. Some kind of funny cards to use from that, but a little too expensive, I would say. You know, 6 mana, however much mana on an expensive minion, not really what he wants to be doing. Does choose to just play it now as well. Few options. There's a 2-mana Stadium Announcer, kind of a bit weird for a defensive deck. There's also that is an incredibly large armor, a 7/8 Latorvian Armorer if he wants to gain a bit armor. The downside of that is he would miss a card draw and decides in the end that's a little too valuable.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was looking at bot face. Plus
Plus
attack and lifesteal, only because, right? I'll back this up a little bit. Only because this game it feels like Definition
say
can
it's
get
some
into the
Dose
position to
Sounds.
just play that, right? Like, I feel like he's in a good enough spot that could definitely be something that's going to come down. However, going for the slightly more
for that
reasonable
one.
pick of just going for the weapon generation.
Yeah, I mean, it is not crazy to say that he actually could end up in a spot where he wants to play that, but I think from his point of view, I would say, well, if I can play a 9-mana bot face, I'm probably in a good enough spot, so just take this as maybe potential, like, you can try and scam another Bulwark for yourself. That is the major high roll for Definition. He can also get rid of his opponent's hammer. Not sure that's going to be super valuable, but that is probably what he's taking it for. After Muradin gets played and he equips the hammer, you just put it back in their deck, which at least means they don't have it equipped.
Yeah, and also, funnily enough, that with the effect on it being the mana reduction, you are only paying 2 mana for that effect, which suddenly makes it a lot more attractive,
Glöm inte
doesn't it?
bort någonting. Det där blir...
Definitely, yep. And I think that's
Glöm
why I
inte
ended up
bort
going with that.
någonting.
Now, this turn, he did not have access to an invader, so Definition says, I'm not going to brawl this board, right? It's a super tiny board, don't want to overreact. Instead, he's just kind of accepting that if Zhao Ti coins Wish, he'll take a little bit of chip, but it's not really the end of the world.
Yeah, I believe that was a rewind, so we're just going to get these spectators switched over. Unfortunately, rewind does cause a
Digitala
spectator
DDoS.
issue,
Drops.
which will get fixed ASAP, so we'll get that done for you. But it looks like he did rewind the weapon and
Smart
attack
gender.
into one of the 2/4s, I believe. Do some
Yeah,
radio
in the
casting for you there.
Yep, and I think we can also see Zhao Ti immediately reach for that coin, right? He's still got 5 minions on board, a couple of frogs, and those frogs are going to help out here, just push through a bit of extra chip damage. And now suddenly,
that's
yeah,
stuff.
we can see the board coming back, 13 damage on board. He also got a
A foam render.
from the stadium announcer, and he's probably going to have enough corpses for a few turns of that.
Yeah, maybe regretting that rewind now. That is
Maybe a bit.
unfortunate for Definition. Definition still has Brawl, has Bob to Freeze, even has Dirty Rat Brawl if he really fancies it available for him. But yeah, this is not what Definition was looking for.
Yeah, not at all. And I think
Seattle,
he might be a
Cave.
little concerned about the idea of Dirty Rat Brawl, because one side effect of that now is he actually gives his opponent the corpses for the weapon, so he may end up just going for a Bob. But
I want to use
he's got a
Swedish.
Rye Cleaver equipped, not a very useful weapon for him. Oh yeah, you can just clear up with Invader actually, pretty
Okay, yeah.
easily.
That was the slight
Wow.
risk with dropping the weapons there, because there are high rolls for Definition, but you are giving your opponent a tool to deal damage to you, right? And yes, there's loads of, like, let's say bad weapons for Shao Ti that you could get, but that option exists, right? You're giving your aggro opponent basically more damage. So it's definitely a little bit of a risk there for Definition. See if he can utilize the weapon enough to make it pay off.
Yep, and Definition picked up a Heart Scrapper from the Discover. If anybody has played any Mech Warrior in the last few months before the nerf to it, you'll remember this says lose up to 5 armor, next mech costs that much less. Of course, he's not playing a mech deck, but he does run Ziliax, and he has it in his hand, but he did just remove 5 armor from
my.
himself,
Oh
which
no.
allows Zhao Ti to kill him with fouls, which seems like a pretty crazy decision
Just
to
threw a game
also
in
wait
World
for
League World
the Heart
Championship
Scrapper. Maybe he
finals.
just felt that he was always in a bad enough spot at that point. But
Yeah, well,
I think it was
It was the
Say don't
payoff
guess,
where
look,
he had to do it then because he was going to take the damage and lose the armor, right? And so he wanted the Ziliax next turn, but that felt like a risk. Maybe it was just I am literally only dead here to fouls, right? In that situation, I'm pretty sure it was literally just fouls. But that is scary because Shao Ti's opening hand, or at first couple of turns, was quite bad, and Shao Ti was holding cards from the beginning of the game, basically, all game. So you start to think, well, what are those cards that have not been played yet? They've been in hand from more or less turn 1. I can't quite remember when Fouls was there, but I think it was turn 1. So you think, well, what's being held? You've got stuff like Wish, you've got Fouls, you've got some of the more expensive stuff, and again, I'm sure yourself included, probably after this, but and all the rest of the pros will like look at that and work out was that worth the risk, get Ziliax back, and so on, so on, so on. But at least the outcome wasn't great for Definition, right? It seemed a little bit too risky when you've given them a foam render as well.
Yep, absolutely. I think the biggest kind of argument against it would just be, like you said, past so many turns. There's only so many cards that he could have in his hand at that point. You know, there's no like Flight of the Firehawk far left, no bird watching, no bellhops, no Hagatha. So suddenly you remove all these cards and you think to yourself, well, how many cards can really be on the left side of their hand? I think he had like Bulwark Brawl for the next turn, so maybe regretting that decision, but still very much in this series.
Yeah, or Bulwark Ziliax maybe even for the next turn as well, right? Because it would have actually been cheap enough to play. But yeah, very.
You would have to forego the part scrapper, so you wouldn't be able to play Ziliax on 8, but you would just be able to go Bulwark Brawl, assume that will keep you alive, and then play Ziliax on 9.
Right. Oh, here we go. Get into the next game. Shao T, maybe just this one game away from being crowned our new world champion. Definition got a lot of work to do, and he's definitely coming off a not the best ending to the previous game. A little bit unfortunate there. Must have felt a little bit rough.
Yeah, but he's kind of got to move on at this point, right? New game, still just 2 games away from himself becoming the world champion, and a usually favored matchup for the Warrior to start off. Of course, Zhao T is playing this different build of Hunter that we've talked about, which should give him at least a few extra % in the matchup.
Not a terrible start here for Shao T. Has the opportunity to curate that pupil nice and early. But we have seen some players struggle with that sometimes. Sometimes you actually don't want the pupil too early because you're doing more utility spells than you are damage spells that you'll probably be after.
My instinct shall hunt down our enemy.
Yep, and Zhao T gonna get his game plan moving, plays the Illyria here. None of these are particularly great. Maybe an Ice Trap just to try and disrupt something later, like a Brawl. Any of these speak out to you?
I'm just staring at them. I'm trying to think, like, does Cower get us anywhere? I'm staring through the deck list quick just to triple check what and if any beasts are relevant or even in the deck, so that's not really looking good. I would joke around and say go for the frogs, but that's definitely not worth it, so I'm with you on the Ice Trap for sure. The more playable card, however, playing it at this point, again, can be a little bit spicy for the Tide Pool, so I imagine we're going to see it held for a little while.
Alright, opening up the Grifta, and does hit deal 6. That is generally a snap pick for most people. I think Zhao T may be taking a second, thinking, well, you know, I could draw some cards. He's got a bird watching in hand, and he's got a pupil, so I would be pretty shocked to see him pick anything other than
watch, right?
Here.
I like this from Shao T, though, because if there's ever a time to not sort of let yourself slip into habits, it's probably now, right? Just have a real think, like, yes, it's almost certainly
Forget the speed
rules,
glitches.
it's not.
Forget.
What's the plan going forward? These are all good things to do, as long as you can keep just a level head with everything. Definition, though, going to respond with this Elise and start to get going with these locations.
Yep, and we are looking for something defensive. He now has the knowledge of the deal 6. He is able to clear up the 6/6 as well, which I'm sure Zhao T was, thinking of at the time. Picks up Discover a Spell and gains 6 armor. Pretty nice location. Although Zhao T also picking up his Elise on the following turn. I think we may see him go for a 1. Ends up picking a 5. There's some interesting options for this matchup. We talked about it on the broadcast a bit earlier. You can pick Copy and get extra scouts just by copying it on the board. So I would imagine he will be picking that. Maybe attack. Raptors for some extra board. What do you like here?
Yeah, I don't mind attack, because there are worlds where you're just building up the board, right? And then it could just be that threat to your opponent. and make them clear boards that they might not necessarily always want to clear. So yeah, going for copy and attack I do like. It just makes these things a little bit more threatening, and I like making my opponent feel a little bit more defensive than they would normally without that.
Yep, I like it as well. And there is also the possibility of getting your board space a little too restricted if you pick Raptors. I think in the past we've seen some people maybe get board locked. I think even in a semifinal matchup for these decks, we saw Definition board lock Love Storm with just a bunch of small minions, and he was never able to get unboard locked properly. So not picking Raptors does avoid that. And just taking his time again, making sure that keeping everything in mind. I definitely like getting the location down. It's just a nice tempo turn, right? He's got plenty of minions on board to take advantage. Just needs to figure out how to make the trades. I think we'll probably see him trade the 4-1 in first, because those 0-6s do grow in attack after they take damage. So assuming he wants to keep his minion, he does indeed do it that way. And can push 9 here if he wants.
Yeah, this is pretty nice, actually. Yeah, I was staring at the hand thinking, is there any reason not to play location? But this is sort of what I was talking about with the location choice, is like, with that, any minions sort of just left around on any given turn become way more of a threat, right? And that's what you want to put on Alpha, because it just means Definition has to deal with air. Like, there's 2-1 still. If this lives for another couple of turns, it needs to be dealt with. We are going to see, of course, Hostile Invader clear up the vast majority of this. Still going to leave 5 damage on the board, though, which is by no means nothing.
Yep, it is quite a bit, and you can already see Zhao Ti's plan coming together here. He's got this scout in hand, a copy on the board, and he put that deal 6 in his pupil, meaning that anytime he wants, he can just pick up 18 damage, which, of course, if he finds a Neri, becomes 36 awfully quick. So I think we'll see a birdwatching played in the near future. Tries to find Niall or Neri, and he will be awfully close to just killing.
Yeah, big question here is, do you like Ice Trap first or birdwatching first? Because that's the last thing to fill out the tide pool, right? So I was actually looking at whether you... I mean, it's always going to be Amulet anyway, probably from the tide pool, but I was like, do you ever want the Ice Trap as a weird backup to cover the board? But very unlikely.
Yeah, I think... if you want to back up, I would probably take the bird watching as well, but like you said, it's just never going to happen. It's always deal 6 from that, and he's going to be looking for a couple key cards from this, and he does pick up a Niall. Definition is going to respond. He has this Demolition Renovator again. We talked about tech cards. That is a big deal. That is a lot of damage that Zhao Ti does not have access to, and he gets some pressure going as well.
Yeah, and it feels like a lot of pressure too, right? 6-6, 3-4, 2-3.
It's
like,
pretty good.
Not something that Hunter normally wants to be able to deal with. With that location,
you could translate everything if you want to.
Reduces the ability to sort of trade down this board. So this is definitely going to be a little bit tough. Just very suddenly quite difficult for Zhao Ti when he was looking so comfortable earlier.
Yep, the good news for him is he does have access to the Sylvanas, so this one board not going to be too big of a deal. He does have access to a Ysera if he wants it. He can also pick up another Pupil. Really, these are all interesting options. The Sanctuary would let you spend your mana this turn alongside the Sylvanas. We'll see him play. But if he wants to just start doing more stuff in the future turns, he could end up taking this Ysera.
Yeah, and even on the other side of that, the Pupil allows him to maybe start going a little bit earlier, because he can use the Rangari Scout, with the previous Pupil, generate the spells, and then have those spells in that previous second Pupil as well. He's going to go for Ysera, so definitely comfortable playing the bit of sort of the bigger plan game, so to speak.
Yep, and he definitely will want that Pupil at some point. The upside to not picking it is you can get an extra copy, which I'm sure he will be thinking about. he can go, Ysera, take a
Party's
slow
coffee is
turn,
popping.
and then in the following turns with a ton of mana, go Scout, Hero Power, try to pick up some extra pupils, something along those lines. And Definition now, meanwhile, he knows that he's sort of on a clock. Either he needs to gain an incredible amount of armor, or more realistically, I'd say he needs to try and pressure a bit. The Great Dracorex will help him do that. Does end up trading off the Niall though still.
Yeah, the heal back up's going to be pretty nice after that. Bringing it all the way back up to 12. Going to be, again, just a touch awkward for Shouty to deal with. And now, if you can't deal with that, you know pretty much anything you're playing is going to die, right? Outside of this Ysera, really.
Yep, and the good news for Zhao Ti is I don't think he's going to care. He can just go Ysera, Hero Power, and then probably just Ice Trap. Has access to 13 mana on the following turn, and he is getting really close to lethal. I mean, he could also just Ziliax down this Dracorex. I'm not sure that he needs to, but he's probably just going to double check, make sure of everything. We'll end up gaining that mana, and because he topped up the Neri this turn, we're really just 1 or 2 steps away from, a massive, let's say, 48 damage combo.
Yeah, and right now, Definition does not appear to have too many ways to slow that down or deal with it. No Bulwark of Azzinoth to cause some headaches here. But I completely agree. The Ziliax looks incredibly clean, but when you look at is that progressing the game plan, you realize very quickly, no. Let them deal 5 damage, right? For this turn, who cares? So yeah, I like this a lot. Very much opening up the options here for Shouty. And Shouty is creeping towards this World Championship victory here. This setup's pretty good. He's got the 6 damage. Grifter didn't whiff. He has the Pupil. He has the Rengari Scouts. It's all on Definition to try and defend against this push.
Yep, and he does have plenty of armor to defend with right now. He's sitting at 38. He has 12 more armor in hand, so I'm not sure we'll see the game end too soon, but it will be in the back of Definition's mind that he needs to continue to tank up or just get more pressure in.
You see the Marion get pulled out there. Again, the Dragon could deal with this 5-5, so not too much of a big deal if the trade happens, but the Marion maybe not the target he wanted to see.
Yeah, I think he was probably hoping to actually pull out the Yor. It would pull it out and immediately just make it dormant on board. He does draw into it, naturally, but he would have preferred just having that one for free. And so that Pupil pickup, wait a minute, 41, 4-6. He's getting awfully close to lethal here. I'm not sure, does he have quite enough mana right now? 7, 8, 10. Not quite enough mana, but he will on the next turn if he just picks it up. The danger then is, does Definition manage to get out of range? It doesn't look like enough to me here.
Yeah, there's 2 goggles just already in hand, right? That even if he has to pay for. That's one of the...
Oh, wait, there's a Sanctuary on the board.
Is this just enough?
It's exactly enough with, wait, is it?
Is this just this... Well, he's played the Neri, right? So this won't just be some kind of setup turn. Shouty has locked in the Neri, locked in all of the amulets in, and I believe that is going to be enough. The headset comes off, the game is over, and Shouty is going to be your 2025 World Champion. Absolutely incredible play, coming off the back of an incredibly tense game in the semi-final, and he's going to finish it all now. What an incredible game, surprising us all. And Definition just doesn't know what to do. Absolutely incredible there from Shouty. It was due at this point, I think. There were some hiccups a little bit earlier on at the beginning of the tournament, but I think especially today, Banter, he's played exceptionally well. And again, all these players are fantastic that have made it here. Definition did a great job to get to the final.
Alright, well, I just slept through the grand finals of another tournament in Age of Empires. Let's watch this one now. It's fine because I'm gonna use the tournament source. Otherwise, I would have actually kind of gone straight to the game spectator over here. But I fell asleep, thought I was wide awake. I'm a pretty notorious streamer for years, get many viewers. Stream about the most professional of things. Never seen such every day, put so much effort in, so much concentration, so much productivity. They didn't know that. I'm better than you think. One person in chat. Don't consider me just starting.
What he did? Food for sure. He has a lot of gold. He need to do more army. He cannot be greedy here. Will you make even forging or is too much? I mean, he has the +1 armor. Hera is doing forging, so I believe that Viper should do here the outbreaks. He needs fletching as well. He has the tower. He's walling a little bit.
Walls.
Nice walls for sure. He's gonna take some valor here, but need to wall a little bit more. This is starting to be so many scouts.
It's gonna be a feudal match.
Are not going to be
Decides the
working.
game.
I mean, they don't have the upgrades for
Let's
the
build a
blast,
few
is what I
more
meant.
towers.
And now villas are going to the town center. Okay. He take 3 villas. Viper has got
Viper's
1, 2
looking
now
good.
from Hera. He's killing also villas to Hera.
He's strong enough to
Okay,
take
both
down
are killing
Hera.
each other at the moment. This is so many
My
units
God.
here as well. Big battle from both. And how many units is gonna take? Well. Both are losing quite a lot, as you can see. 2 villas behind only. Taking all the scout. This is so expensive for Hera as well. And well, I mean, I don't know. The KD is definitely better here, but this is normal usually with Incas because
Yeah, it's better
they're
than
cheaper. And
yeah. And it's better than expected. The wall, like this, could be a problem because there's only one low HP army there. But Viper already fixed his eagle, got wheelbarrow. He stabilized there. He's short. Oh, nice micro from him. Like, even if you lose in the villager, you want the scout to lose as much as HP possible, and he did that.
yeah, no, Viper is gonna go
couple of
up to
archers.
Castle Edge faster. Yeah,
He will.
he's gonna go up faster to
The only
Castle
thing
Edge.
that I missed from the Viper here was the fletching. The fletching would have
Oh,
helped
yeah.
so much with those art.
Yeah.
Scouts have no defense, right? So they would be suffering way more damage. But
We
so
have
far,
helped a lot. We have helped a lot. He's gonna lose another village here. The spears need to be going. Now, probably stop doing villages and go up. No? Okay. He has lost many
he has
villages
two
here.
spearmen home. He needs to small wall those guys. That gold is like not the easiest to small wall, but I think now he found a way. Let's see. Market as well. Ooh, but the food from poles going up, and the villager down. That should be a kill. Oh, he jumped. Nice move there. He teleported. He's looking
Yeah.
for it.
It's definitely,
So good.
it's definitely a good damage, but Viper is on the way to Castle Age. And
Yes,
now,
I'm thinking about stuff like
Eagles
that.
can do the
the
job. The
background.
problem is that he's still losing Veliz here. I don't know why he didn't have some more spears. I think at some point, with how cheap the spears are, he should have done more, no? I think so.
Sure thing, but Hera kind of tricked him. He saw like 4 scouts hovering his berry for like his army on Hera's base for a while, and out of nowhere, like he said, he's not going to keep doing army, right? And Viper didn't too, by the way. And then out of nowhere, out of the blue, 10 scouts with forging and bloodlines appears on your goal, but he didn't see him doing more for sure.
Yeah, well, he has...
The fletching was a problem though. Fletching would be better. And stone walls. Oh boy.
Whoa! Stone walls! Well, Hera is not joking around. Stone walls, because he knows that his opponent probably is going to be up quicker. Need to go now with all the army. Would you make the fletching? Well, 2 archers only, probably
Shout out to
not.
MemTV for this
Stone
very
walls.
nice tournament.
Oh boy, but the stone walls, the
Sponsored
whole
by-
map. Wow.
We had months
Arena.
without a tournament.
Okay.
Age of Empires.
It's
It's
good.
crazy.
It would
Of
be-
course it's
It's
good.
not quite Warhorse,
you
that
want to be
comes
vulnerable
later.
to raids.
By the same guy.
Zico is in a very better shape. He got how many? Like look how many
He's
more
been
villages. Obviously,
toiling.
There's Wheelbarrow for. Oh, there's Wheelbarrow for both. Okay, yeah.
Both go to Wilbaro. I mean,
So he's not losing villages in the beginning of Castle Age.
Yeah.
He's chilling.
he's up quicker, you know, to the next age. But what is Viper going to do then? Because if he's fully wall, stone wall, it's gonna be so complicated here.
It
Yeah,
is, and he doesn't
can-
know about
This
it.
is the way it should be
Can
actually.
Viper
Because
with
the
this
movement speed is the
94
best stat on the light cavalry.
Make another TC with Incas, I think so, right? Yeah, it's
It
cheaper.
should be cheaper, right? I don't know how
Yeah, yeah,
cheaper
yeah.
it is.
Being able
but,
to chase down
Yeah, I
archers.
think it's 93
Viper
what you
doesn't
need.
know about the stone walls.
Derbyshire.
Now he will.
So he gets there now. He will. So let's see if he's going to cancel the upgrades and add TCs or you know. or he's
Although
going to
you might
double
make a
down
few spawn
because
base
But you will
sometimes,
need
and
that
it's always
anyway, like
costly
to
in
have some
stone.
army, no? Because
You
No,
know, honestly,
Yeah, we do.
Eagles,
army.
maybe Pikemen. Eagles are not going to be.
you just make an extension in the back
Okay.
to a direction
let's
which
see.
is
To be honest,
easy.
Pikemen too,
defend the-
just hella too
the-
fast, right? So let's see. That would be a lot of light cav over
Almost never ever.
yeah, well,
And a
you can
TC.
do a lot of infantry yourself. Why he's not doing
Wasn't
a house there? I
Taliban
don't know.
attacking?
Now doing the gate, but wall in this area, and now wall in those villages. He still have so many units. The tower is
12-15
there. He could wall that one a
military.
little bit better. The scouts are going to do the job. Okay, he did a good job. Now here, he's coming with more eagles, and there is also a monk. The tower is there, and now he's gonna lose probably
The
the
monk is
monk.
dead.
That monk is bye-bye. Need to be careful. He has to be careful to not lose more villages here. If he lose more villages, then it's gonna be the first game from for Hera. He's doing a second town center. Okay, what he could have done better here, Viper? I think just wall more. He kinda let it
Yeah.
open, and then Hera has the mobility with those scouts, right?
Exactly, but it's not the easiest task with this map, especially the way he walled. Like if he's walling like to protect the back gold, then he can
Trying to
wall
raid.
shorter
Okay.
from those 2 woods to the TC, for example. But the way he did the barrack and set up the whole thing, he needs like it's hard to wall that gold around, right? The way the game developed.
He's doing now the Pike one
He did
upgrade.
a really good job, but
Yeah. He still have the more army than Hera. It's normal usually also with Incas. So maybe now should go a 1TC all in, like all Pikes, Eagles, and try to go all in one town center in this situation.
he is committed to that. I don't think he can change that anymore. Even if he wanted, that's his only chance. But Hera is already adding the 30C, and he got stone for the castle. And Viper's not a position.
Let's see the battle
in-
on the right.
In theory,
Vodka.
Yeah.
Well, it will kill it. He has
in
knights
theory
and
you have
scouts.
the answer, right, to the unique unit from Pulse, but Viper's not in a position of doing slingers at all. So
Okay.
the castle should do the trick.
Well, he's not mining a stone. He's still coming with the pikes. Pikes are only +1 armor. He should probably make forging when he has, but he doesn't have the economy. He's 17 villages behind right now. Now Hera is in his comfort zone because he's just booming with poles, having great and crazy economy with this civilization. As you can see, he's gonna try to raid, but he did stone walls. It's true that there is now some town centers outside, so he can do some damage. And now let's see if Viper will send some villages forward or something. But even like that, well, yeah, that's the problem. You cannot be losing units, one here, one there, right? It has to be careful with this one.
especially 1TC. Especially when you want TC. So let's see. I still, I mean, have some hope, but it's looking problematic the game one and with the castle. Yeah.
Well, now
and
a
fifth.
castle.
Wait, that's a fourth DC as
Fourth
well.
town center. Fourth town center and doing a castle here. So he's walling. He's walled, sorry. He has 3 TCs doing the fourth and he's doing the castle here. So
Yep.
now those unique units dominate. The
He's
Obuch
even healing
dominate.
the low HP. He's even healing the low HP scouts. They did so much damage already, and they're still healing. Like I don't know how many kills those guys got. It's like 14
GG.
kills.
Yeah, when he saw
GG.
when he saw the castle, he knew that the game is are there as well. The Kongs are so powerful, really powerful, but he has only one.
You see, like
Gonna be
7
moving.
units running away from 1 half HP conk. That's how good they are.
In my end, he has 4. When he's coming with 4, it's gonna be different. He still doesn't have the resources for ballistic, but he will. And it's very important that he see the university. You know, just to be aware and be ready. He's doing the +2 armor. That's really good. He see university already, but he's gonna try to dive in.
That's very important.
It's very important that he see it.
I don't
He's
think
doing
he
now.
would, but that is a big deal. As we mentioned, if he doesn't see it, there's also a reason why Hera did in the back. It's just like, oh, maybe he takes fights in the front. I get the ballistics and he doesn't notice. I get 2 cheeky kills.
Now, here is gonna have crossbows with ballistic and with Vodkin, the most he can get. Those Kongs could have bloodlines, but that's so expensive. You need Barak and a stable, and the Viper is coming forward with the Siege War Shop. So important that that Siege War Shop is going to be up, obviously. You know? So let's see what is going to happen. The Kongs are there. Yeah, but the Kongs kill the archers so
Okay, now
fast.
there's ballistic. Now he knows.
He knows.
Now he knows there's ballistics. Yeah.
Need to micro completely. Both need to micro so good. Let's see. Ballistic is already there, and now he's taking the conk. He need to be careful. And now
You are forced to back responsibility. It's not an offensive
is
joke,
the
actually.
crucial part here.
It's just
Right?
obvious.
Mongol, Scorpion,
Should be obvious to everyone.
because it's expensive. So, this is so tense.
It's the tension.
It's the tension, huh?
I thought the same.
Yeah,
The
it's
tension
not
is
the
building
because
because so far nothing's happening much, but we know
You know?
shortly will change. And another conk and we'll do deaths already. It's expensive, but yeah. And cheeky kills as well. Like with little army here, another
yeah.
one. Oh my god, the guy's everywhere.
But still, the thing here is he picked Spanish, and then Hera got, and I put in quote, the lack to have this civilization. You know, that is one very good to counter this. You know, because you can
that's
go
not
up
just
with
gonna
a
kick you out.
super smooth fast castle, and then well, these archers I forgot to mention, they also attack faster as well. The Ethiopians archers.
Yeah, they shoot faster, exactly.
They shoot faster. Forgot to
And
mention.
Hera felt safe now after 3 kills. He felt safe to add extra TC. Does he know about the workshop? If he doesn't know, he will know now. And now it will begin. Oh no, and it's open.
Ooh,
Oh
but that's a
no.
problem. The Kongs are
There's
inside.
army there, but still.
Yeah, but the Kongs are +2, and the Mongol is there. He has to micro. Let's see the micro by Hera. He's gonna be able to do the job. That's a good shot. He killed some HP, but he need now he need monks, the Viper, to heal those
He
Kongs.
does that. They need to
right?
heal them up. Yes. Yes.
Get the heal that
There's
one.
this good scout, like he's also alive. Scout, but like big line of sight, a second range, second workshop in the hill. That's a good hill as well too. Be aggressive from. But he did, yeah, he does need the monastery.
Also to get the relics, because he's going all in a strategy.
True,
That's
true.
micro, super powerful as always.
I think
mean-
the situation is just like when you're playing with lethal, you always want the relics, right? But you don't go for the relics instantly because you know you need them something else for protection or healing. Then eventually you have map control, you take the relics. That's fine.
Reminder, this is the market is going now for a Siege War Shop. Gotta be careful. I mean, the game is away from one battle to a snowball for one of the other,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
One battle and then the snowball for Viper or for Hera. He's doing another Siege War Shop. He's now going to go around. He has to be careful. The Kongs are there. Ballistic on the TC is insane. He has another town center there. He has to repair the Mangonel. And now he's taking some farms. 13 army, 16 army. Viper need to do the damage. He need to micro like a god. Because Hera is having right now a lot of archers with ballistic. And he's defending
powerful
really
combo.
well, like he usually does. Viper has a lot of army, yes, but he need to kill. And I don't see still yet any monk. Okay. The village is gonna go down,
Well,
maybe.
there's a lot of archers inside, so gotta be careful. Ooh, jumped in. Ooh.
Oh,
he
that was
jumped
good
in
for
half
Viper.
Oh, I hate when that happened. Yeah, that's good for Viper.
He killed so many
Another
archers
one there
here.
as well.
He killed so many archers in this area. He has to be careful, Hera.
That's
Now,
cool.
those conks.
Hera took a villager, the villager forward, so Viper most likely sending one forward as well, just to heal up. Eventually trades on the mangonels.
I know
And they
the
get
key
low HP, right? You want a villager close.
is doing the barrack because he want to make the bloodlines eventually. And has the archery range is down. That he has another archery range?
No, not that I know from. He is producing apparently. So
Yeah,
maybe
he has
does.
another archery range at the back. There you go.
Mhm.
Now the mangonels, so important the micro here, but the conks can kill the mangonels. That's the problem. Yeah, look at this.
One.
The conk is down.
Oh, okay.
The mangonel is down. It's still 13 army, 11 army, going all aggressive. Trying to take the Tone Center. He's now trying to send the conks to kill villagers. He need to kill, and he's gonna try to kill now some units. But the mangonel, oh, 1-for-1. That's good for Hera probably. Depend now in the battle at the bottom, but can't lose those mangoes. Need to send another villager, and the pressure continues. The score is still close. He's gonna take the barrack. Remember that those are pikes, no spears. And well, both with a lot of idle TC, but that's normal. And now doing finally the
He's thinking
stable.
about counterattack.
Yeah. You think? No. He can't counterattack. If he counterattack, he gonna lose everything at home. He's doing another Tone
Man,
Center.
30 C.
That's crazy,
Crazy.
no? He has 7 farmers,
is.
man. He has 7 farmers right now. Well, he want to protect
Yeah, but
the
that's
wood,
more
probably.
for protection.
Yeah.
Is there army in the back there? No.
No.
13 cons. They're super strong. Should they have partly bloodlines and husbandry? They have already the +2 defense. So, and their villagers going forward probably to heal those guys that vodka showed us, to heal the siege.
He's sending 3
Yeah.
villages. 3 villages is sending, And monastery for I
Monastery
love the
too.
monastery here now. I think
There we go.
this is really good for the Kongs attack. Let's see if Viper is taking the score lead. Population similar. Bloodline is gonna make the Kongs now so tanky, like really, really tanky. He's gonna be able to dive in and kill. We will see.
Hello,
You need
last
to dance with
27
those
minutes.
because Hera micro is insane, as you can see. Need to go back. Don't lose
Awesome
that
good
point.
micro.
Nice. That was a good one. Take so many archers and a lot of HP as well. Bloodlines is already there. Population obviously is still ahead, but now Viper need to micro against the Mangonel. Mangonel down, but he's gonna take the other. I mean, the Kongs are so strong, no problem for that. Taking that one, and now he's so many conquistadors on his face, attacking now also on the Tone Center at the bottom. And he's trying to garrison and garrison all the time. The micro is super fast here by the Canadian, but now the monks are going to help a lot. Oh man, it's constant. The APM might be
Viper
insane.
was shooting the bottom of the TC2 in the beginning just in case he jumped again out, like to snipe stuff. Oh, there's a monk. You want another? Yeah. So now here it comes, man. It's very close to snowball from one side from another. Big time. There's a Wonder Workshop. Hera jumping around, but those guys do not die more anymore, or at least for now, for one shot from all that mess. And yeah, Viper's going to jump, snipe,
And the
and run
Kongs
away. That's
snipe.
the biggest
Kongs,
strength.
yeah, the Kongs snipe all the siege like instantly. You know, the archers are good, but the Mangon is a second castle on his face. That castle, if he's able to do it, is absolutely wild. He need to be careful. Don't lose the monks. Send maybe more villages. Nah, I think he's fine. He has so many Mangonels here, and the Kongs as well. He's Spanish villages. He's sending more villages. He's
It's
sending a
forcing
lot
him
more
to fight
villages.
too, right? It
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
it
yeah.
is, and it's forced Hera to fight something. Oh. It's looking good for the Viper now, and the CC should fall shortly. There's a Mangonel getting out of the workshop now. Let's see. The trade's 1-for-1, not yet, but it might be 1-for-1.
Now we kill it.
1-for-1, it's good for the Viper.
The castle is going to be
He's
up.
doing it, man.
Yeah,
Phosphorus
yeah.
unstoppable.
GG! 1-1!
And that's it. Oh,
and the
boy.
Viper is winning again with the Dan Phosphorus strategy. 1-1.
The
And,
fourth win? It's the fourth or the
What the
fifth
hell,
win?
man? He's winning all the time with these damn strategies. And honestly, Hera played, in my opinion, insane. Like, insane.
He did.
And it still did the job, man. What is happening with those strategies, man? Like seriously.
You know what?
You know?
After this tournament, Phosphorus coaching fee is going to be the best fee.
No. That guy is more famous than Viper, Hera, and everyone. You know, like
Income, he needs to get
careful. Don't lose the
Okay,
archers.
attention.
Viper, man. Yeah, you don't. Well, he saved it. That's important. Very important
saved
because
it.
that's after so many. He's doing more scouts now. Okay. He's doing now a stable. Yeah, to do scouts himself, I guess. But still, he still have no goal. Okay. For now, he's controlling
Yeah, now
those
with
farmers.
Botkin,
Yeah, with Botkin.
crossbows and so on, it will be an issue because like
Lemon's gonna go to bed, I think. Thank you.